Yeah.
We've always had, and you probably heard me say this over and over and over again. It's probably, getting really repetitive, but this is not the first time that there has been signs of people having some type of mental illness, just like they have a headache.
Indeed.
We just didn't know what it was, and we didn't know how to react to it. We didn't know what to do with it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I do think if you want to tie in, when we're talking about Jim Crow and that type of thing for people of color, African
Yes.
American people of color,
Yes.
I don't think that that helped with the mental, stability of you,
Yes.
because there's a couple factors in there. I mean, you're being constantly in fear of
Yes.
something and on guard of something all the time in your surroundings. You're being told you're less than not all the time, one way or another. You have to move differently in the street. Um, so, it's always been an issue. Do you see what I'm saying? Certain
Understood.
things have
Exactly.
always been an issue. We always struggled with things, but it goes like an onion. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper than that. You
Exactly.
did not, and I'll say this: you did not talk about mental illness. You've heard me
Very
say
true.
that many times. You didn't talk
Very
about
true.
it. A lot of people didn't know what it was. You did not want to let anybody know you produced a child that had this.
Yes.
That's lack of
Issue or
education,
problem.
that
Yes.
issue
Yeah,
or that
stigma.
problem. I
Exactly.
think that women were harshly judged because they produced children, which was one of the
Yes.
main, I guess, functions or duties at a certain time period, that she
Yes.
should be able to have children. She
Yeah.
produces children that have issues.
Hmm.
Now we know that's not
Yeah.
true.
That's not. Yeah.
It don't work
But
that
Exactly.
way.
a lot of
But we
history.
know
I
how it's looked at.
yeah.
hmm
I was.
Your,
I was.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
But I'll say this really quick while I'm my plane.
Hmm.
You were looked at as your sole purpose, or your primary purpose was to be able to produce children as a wife, especially, and produce sons, which was really,
Yes.
beginning of time. If you were able to produce a male child, especially
Yes.
first, you were really on high regard as a woman. I hate to
Yes.
say that, but that's just what it was. And you
Yeah,
produced a
and it still
child
holds
that,
true. Mm-hmm.
very true. You produce a child
Mm-hmm.
that has this issue, so you produce, excuse me for saying this, uh, dysfunctional, messed up children.
Right.
Now, don't take that to heart, but that's what the
Yes.
thought was.
Yes.
So we're dealing with a whole new different thing, but it's in a different way.
Right. Okay.
To answer your question, in my opinion.
Yes. What do you think
Absolutely.
hmm
about? What do you
Absolutely.
think, Professor? As far
Yes.
as, and I'll repeat it and reiterate. I was just, if you remember the question, that's okay. But I was just asking about going through obviously the different times, different eras, different things that we're dealing with. I feel like a lot more so now. It's easier to discuss these things. We have, we don't have the same dealings. We're not really as worried about being in certain areas at night and being, we just some of the things we don't
hmm
have on our backs anymore. So the same
hmm
thing I was asking my mom was like, do you think we even had a space at all back then? Like, did you the capacity? I think is the right word. Did we have the capacity to even
Yeah.
take that on? That's what I want to know.
Well, we have the capacity now, and what it did, it started happening gradually.
Yes.
hmm
Um, and I have to say, through people like Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King, those people, Coretta Scott King, just to name a few. We all know who they are in the history books, but our new folks, I have to say, because come to find out, I'm a Generation Jones. I'm a GJ. So I'm a GJ. So during my
Uh,
era, we had I had there were opportunities. We did have a voice, but it was, I have to say, it wasn't as strong as it is now because of
Understood.
technology. We didn't have as much, a quarter of technology. We had, everything was word of mouth. Everything was face to face. We did have some racial disparities. We did have some racial incidents, we had them, but we came together as in conversation.
Yes.
We came together
Mm,
in deeds. We came together as activists. We came together in events. We addressed it that
mm,
way. We went to Congress straight. We were in Congress space. We were in legislature space. Now, I have to say our voice is incredibly stronger now because Gen Z said, listen, we got technology and we keep
Yeah.
improving
yes.
this technology. It's going to help us speak louder with the pen. And my era said it was the power of the pen. You know,
Yes.
now this era, Generation Z, and combined with Generation X
Mm,
and Generation Jones, become stronger because of technology and the
Yeah.
engagement. So thank God, yes, we've come a long
mm,
way and we've grown much more stronger than before. And not only that, the approach that Generation Z uses to for mental health is unique. They have because they have a unique perspective, and the household composition has changed since my era.
Yes.
Now you have different. I have to say how not just household compositions. You have different financial aspects within the household. You have multi
Yes.
generational and intergenerational perspectives to deal with. So Gen Zs, they have a lot more to contend with than we did.
But
Not to say that we didn't, but what they have to contend with shapes their experience, and they are very vocal about it.
but
Um,
now this is my last question. I don't want to cut you off, but I wanted to catch you in a moment where there was like
mm,
a natural pause. I wanted to ask you guys. Now, this is my opinion. I feel like in that time back then, without the technology, I feel like it would have been way more, and it is and was way more impactful because I feel like when you had to do the legwork and go to those meetings and you had to,
okay,
after you got out
okay,
work, you had to work there. You didn't just watch it live
right,
from your
right,
phone and you didn't. So
right.
I see technology being an advancement as far as getting it out to people. But I feel like, and I'm going to turn this into a question, but I feel like the easy access to people for people to just punch into a stream and just watch for a few minutes and jump back out. I don't think the seriousness is there. I don't think the impact is there. I think the ability to get your what you want to say out there is it might be easier, but I think there's a negative side to this technology because people are have so much to look at that they're consumed by so much that they don't really divide their attention and energy towards something specific anymore. So to
Yeah,
turn this into a question for you and my mom, starting with
mm.
my mom, I want to ask mommy, um do you think there's a negative effect of like is technology more helpful or do you think it's setting us back anyway?
Well, I think it's doing a combination of both.
Okay.
You know, just like when we had to write letters to each other,
Yes.
you know, that morphed into emails